Football is back. No more boring weekends. No. You know, we were singing this song last week Monday in anticipation of the football weekend. I was supposed to start on Friday. But now we can sing it wholeheartedly because our screens have been blessed by the touches of footballers, amazing footballers, wonderful goals, fantastic skills, yellow cards, red cards, and more than enough pleasure to investors. Or not, as the case may be. My name is Shegun Odwan. I welcome you to today's episode of Punch Sports Extra. And I'm with me here, Eniton Daramola. Eniton, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Shegun. It's good to be here.
You must have investors around you.
Oh, well.
I know you are not an investor.
No, I'm not an investor.
You will know a few investors.
But wait, I need to clarify. I think we need to clarify for our fans, for the sake of everyone watching. Like, what do you mean by
when we talk about investors in sports, you know the investors now.
You mean TA tickets? I didn't say anything.
But cash out.
I didn't say anything. But it's good to be here.
It's good to be back. And great time here. Of course, with football back, you know, there's a spice it gives to the show. And I'm sure you are already happy and celebrating wherever you are. We'll be starting with the front page of Punch Sports Extra, the print edition. And the new season has brought a lot to certain players. Of course, individuals who play for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And yes, the man whose picture is there right now on the front page of Punch Sports Extra is Uche. Plays in the La Liga. Got a goal, got an assist. This man has been invited to the Super Eagles, hasn't exactly been fully incorporated into the team. But many persons will also like that he brings this form from his club to the country. Anytime, this man is back. You know, last season towards the end, he was really on form, and now again, it looks like he didn't have any break because he's starting the season holding the jugular and striking hard.
Exactly, jugular. It's pretty interesting. It's a good one, for Uche. I think you need to recall, or we need to remind our viewers out there that Uche he had a problem with his club. I think it was around mid-season last season, or the early parts or early stages of last season, where he granted an interview to one of the big sports media, and he was talking about racism, and he was talking about the fact that he has been racially abused, and the interview didn't really go down well with his club, and they had to caution him and say I think he needs to stay away from,
slow down.
Yeah, he needs to pipe down and stay away from the media for a while. And I like the fact that both the club and the player have moved past this. It was like it never happened, and he's an important player for his club. He scored a goal and he assisted in the 2-0 win against Celta Vigo. And it goes to show you that this guy is a very important player for this club.
Team.
And he was the MVP, the player of the
of course when you get a goal and get an assist,
amazing. And for a Nigerian to have the spotlight, he's not the first Nigerian to have played for Etafe.
Of course.
The Uche. Oh my God. Those guys gave us absolute scenes when it comes
to very short stint, but
it was short, but it was amazing. That's the best cameo you can ever expect from players like that. Two brothers doing amazingly, and surprisingly, this guy's name is Uche, and he's carrying on the Nigerian, flag. Although he is Chris Santos Uche, and he's carrying on the Uche vibe and the Nigerian, vibe. And I hope that he moves beyond this. And when I say he moves beyond this, I want to see him in the other half of the, the table. Now, when I say the other half, I mean with the big boys. Maybe Atletico Madrid. I don't know if his style will suit the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona. Or it could be in the Premier League or in the Italian Serie A. You never know. But, what a way to start the season. And I hope that we can get to see more of him with goals, assists. And, it's going to be really key for Etafe this season. Yeah, for positive reasons.
All right. That's it for Chris Santos Uche for Getafe over the weekend. 1 goal, 1 assist, MVP, like Enito said. Still on the front page of Punch Sports Extra, the print version. There's a picture of David De Gea, former Manchester United goalkeeper, who has once again been linked to the club. Guess what? When things don't start well, how it does in football now. Complaints will begin to creep in. And the segment where there is probably a little bit of controversy is where people start saying, perhaps our former bread is better than the new bread. Of course, there was no Andre Onana. In fact, Andre Onana's case right now, anytime with the club, I mean, the man has said, I want to relax, I want to stay, I want to do all of that, but the rumor is still banging. And with what happened with Alte Bainda at the weekend, we'll come later in the show to analyze what went on in the EPL, but we're still talking front pages.
Yeah.
David De Gea, is he a man that is wanted at Old Trafford?
Oh, well, he's kind of, what he does, permit me for lack of words, is needed in Manchester United right now. Is wanted and needed in Manchester
United. Both wanted and needed.
Yes, both wanted and needed. But the person, David De Gea, I think it's just rumors. When influencers, agents and stuff, and they see that this is needed, they start to bring a possible replacement, or they start to bring someone to suit the
rumors.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like a rumor that will sell. It will sell the headlines, and it bring a buzz kind of, but it's just the rumor. I can tell you that for maybe a fact, because I read, some story. I think it was the Athletic or thereabout yesterday, and it was saying it's not really. I think it was TalkSport. It was not really that Manchester United were going to, or are interested in bringing back David De Gea. Now, take note. If they were interested in bringing him back, then they would not have done that send forth for him at Old Trafford last week. Before you understand. Yeah. So I don't think he would. Yeah, it would be a good one for him to come back, but I don't think Manchester United would bring him back. The only player they have ever brought back or recently was Cristiano Ronaldo, and it didn't end well, and they are moving forward, and if you check the list of possible replacements that they would have for what's his name now, Andre Onana, David De Gea is not in the list.
Is this the end of Onana's stay in United?
Now that's a big question. That's a big question. We do not know, because he started not too good. He started really poor because for his caliber, you understand, we will not discredit who Andre Onana is. We will not discredit his abilities and his playing style and what he does, what he brings to a team. And for all anyone cares, he took what's their name now, Inter Milan, to the final of the UEFA Champions League. And they lost 1-0, if I'm not mistaken, against Manchester City. That game could have gone anywhere, you understand? It could have gone both sides. But you will not forget the fact that this is a Manchester United side that are swimming in pressure. Now, when I say they are swimming in pressure, that's actually what's happening. If you do one mistake, out of 10, score 9 goals out of 10. That one that you miss will be the topic, because it is Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes has been getting the bashes online. They just, people just tend to say things, you understand. So it's like that. However, you won't discredit, or you will not, take your eyes away from the fact that there were obvious errors made by Andre Onana that cost Manchester United dearly. And, it just goes to show that there is a need for a change.
So the man is leaving.
It's not certain. Now, the coach yesterday, his future is in doubt, because you recall that Manchester United were linked to, what's his name now, Donnarumma from PSG, and the relationship between PSG and Donnarumma is completely broken. But there's a stronger report that is going to either join Manchester City. Now, mind you, what's his name now? Ederson is on his way possibly to Turkey, Galatasaray. They tabled a 10 million or 15 million pound bid, but Manchester City wants around 20. Manchester United are being wise. What do I mean by what they have done? Now, Andre Onana was injured before the preseason. He did not take part in the preseason for Manchester United at all. Now, that rules him out from the start of the Premier League season. However, I think they announced that he was fit, he's back to training, and he's training, but he did not make the lineup. And then questions came about, why did you drop Andre Onana? And now the coach has come out to say, I did not drop Andre Onana. It's not that I sidelined him or anything. I picked 2 other goalkeepers ahead of Andre Onana.
That was controversial because he got heated up yesterday.
Yes,
and
he got heated up.
Pointing.
Now I'm going away. Now, where am I going? Remember that they signed, what's his name now? Benjamin Sesko from RB Leipzig, and he was not injured. Now, I'm just, trying to play it.
Perhaps he's a new player.
Hold on.
Same pedestal that we
I understand, but there was a club in the Premier League that just signed a player. I think it was on a Wednesday, and the Wednesday before the opening game on Friday, and he played almost 90 minutes. I heard the player played almost 90 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. This week, this previous week. You understand? But I think for Shesko not to have been injured, and he played in the game yesterday. It was yesterday, right?
Yeah,
it shows that. Yeah, exactly. So I don't think there was.
You are thinking there's something going on.
Zegzi is back in training. He would have been pretty instrumental for Manchester United because it was obvious that they needed a point line yesterday, at least in the first half yesterday. They needed somebody at that point now, you understand? But he didn't play. He was, you understand? Forget that one. But he didn't play. So I don't think, let me just conclude. I don't think that, is a big deal if Manchester United lets Andre Onana go. I don't think it's a big deal.
Number one. Bayinda, Eaton.
They have 2 weeks.
Sign someone else.
They have 2 weeks.
So you don't trust Bayinda or Eaton?
And if they are, so from, should we talk about the game yesterday?
No,
because
I'm saying, do you trust?
I don't trust
Bayinda to be your number one goalkeeper.
No, I don't trust
Bayinda. Neither do you trust Tom Eaton.
So I would have said Tom Eaton, but Tom Eaton age is not on
as the number one.
Yes, so
of Manchester United.
Yes, I don't trust.
So you don't trust both of them.
Yes.
So they need to get a new. All right.
Yes.
I was guessing from what the heated post-match interviews yesterday that was held with both managers, but majorly with the Manchester United manager. It was it was almost flaring up at some point. He was unusually his demeanor was not exactly calm, and you can say that ever since they came on board, Ruben Amorim, he knows how to control the media, he knows how to address issues. But yesterday, it didn't look like brother was in the mood. Moving on very quickly. Atalanta are looking for suitors for African Footballer of the Year, Ademola Lookman. It looks like their relationship is equally broken beyond repair. It looks like they are also not going to sell him to Inter Milan. It looks like Inter Milan is not going to step up that bid. In fact, Inter Milan are all looking for, there's always a list. Number 1, number 2, number 3. It looks like Lookman is number 1, and they are looking for other persons. What's his name again? Christopher Nkunku's name has come up in the list of guys that they want to get to replace Ademola Lookman, who is number 1 on their priority right now. What's going on? Ademola has gone silent on social media after that outburst about 2-3 weeks ago. Atalanta are looking for suitors right now. Only God knows how much they will make off him, because it's true there's a relationship breakdown, and other clubs want to take advantage of that and say, okay, since you guys cannot work out, let's buy him for 2 naira rather than say 5 naira or something.
Yeah.
So Lookman, season has started, man has no club.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one, because the same scenario that happened with Victor Osimhen
this time last year.
Exactly. And it's happening again with
current African Footballer
yes,
of the Year.
around that time he was the reigning African Footballer of the Year, which is quite sad.
Is it an African Footballer of the Year course now?
No, I don't want to say it's an African Footballer of the Year course, and I don't want to say it's a Nigerian footballer course, but I'm just saying that it's something that has to do with Italy and how they are treating their players. I'm not going to pan to one side, or I'm not going to pan to the side of the player or the club, but I think it should be settled as soon as possible. That's your most prized asset, and if his value drops beyond that, you can't get the money you want for him. And for him too, I think so recently I think there are some players that have had to let go of some certain amount of money, and their agents too. So if I don't know, I'm just saying as an option, if he wants that move so badly, I think maybe they need to compromise, because we can't afford having him go through what Victor Osimhen go through. And then Victor might have the strong mentality to pull through. I don't know what this will do to Ademola Lookman. And the funny thing is that Inter Milan and Atalanta are on the verge of exchange of what's the word now?
Of selling.
Yes. So the relationship is still there. So I think Atalanta needs to just, they need to do what's needed, and let's just get this done. Right. And I heard that what's his name now? Didier Drogba flew to Italy to submit a petition thereabout. I've been trying to confirm. I've not gotten a confirmation, but the reports have been on from some credible, news platform, and I just hope it doesn't become a national and international mess.
Exactly. When the season has started. Preseason is out,
and in some weeks,
managers already.
In some weeks, Super Eagles will be going out, to play the World Cup qualifiers. That's in September,
and then
it's a must-win. Exactly, a must-win. number of games.
Going forward now is a
must win.
If you don't win, just
nothing else than 3 points. You understand? So we need our players to be in the right frame of mind. We need them to be focused, especially Ademola Lookman. Recall what he did for the Super Eagles, almost at Manchester United. Recall, yes, at the AFCON. So we want our players to be
months away from another
exactly. So we want our players to be in the best shape. So in any way possible, if maybe some people need to intervene, in terms of maybe just advising, advise the agents,
even the FA,
exactly, even the FA, whatever they need to do, they should do. But I doubt if the FA can do anything, because this is not the first time this will happen, and this is not the second time. But I like the fact that if it's true, I like the fact that the Drogba has stepped up, and whoever is representing, they have stepped up and say, oh, we can't watch this happen to our brother. I hope the Nigerians would learn from that and not just go to podcasts or and start saying stuff. You understand? Because so it shouldn't be.
Another man who is having a completely broken down relationship with his club is Alexander Isak. And once again, Liverpool are saying we are ready to drop another bid. We are ready to drop XYZ amount. And we want Alexander Isak, even though Ugo Ekitike is having a very sweet start to life there in Liverpool. But I guess they want to be sure that they are sure that everything is set by getting Alexander Isak. Anytime. Alexander Isak is going the way, he has gone the Ademola Lookman way, except that he has not said anything online. In fact, he probably did worse by going to his former club to train before he came back. And he has said, I will not play for you people again. There's nothing you do.
For a player to go that route, it means that something has gone really wrong. You understand? Because I can recall that Liverpool tabled about 110, if I'm not mistaken.
That was rejected immediately.
I hope that they do not make the same mistake that PSG made when Real Madrid tabled £200 million
for Kylian Mbappe.
Is it pounds or euros now? For Kylian Mbappe. And eventually they lost him for free. Okay, I'm working with you, I'm playing for you. I don't want again. It's not by force. You have to let him go. But I understand the fact that Newcastle have been struggling to sign a replacement. They tried with Benjamin Sesko. They tried with Mbeumo. They tried with Matheus Cunha.
It didn't work.
They tried with some other players too. It didn't work. That's not on the side of the player. You can't blame the player for that. You understand? So whoever is in charge of transfers, whoever is in charge of negotiation, the sporting director, they just need to up their game. They need to find a way, because it appeared that they actually tabled. It appeared that they actually tabled, more offers than the club that they lost these guys, to. In terms of, they even had Champions League, football. However, I think it's quite sad, that a player would say, I'm not playing again for you. I want to leave, and until you, sanction my transfer, I'm not going to play. It's quite sad to see that on the part of a player. Now look at the other side of, in London. There's a certain player who is wanted by Arsenal and Tottenham, and who looks like is favored to join Tottenham. Eberechi Eze. But regardless of the fact that he's going to leave Crystal Palace in 2 weeks, he played. It goes to show you,
he may be on his way out.
Yes,
he played. Although
he played.
His his manager.
Yeah, there were some, but regardless, he played.
Minutes.
So it goes to show you, relationship matters in whatever we do. You understand? It goes to show you professionalism. Now, if I were Liverpool, now I'll be questioning, will I still sign this player? He's gone on riot with such attitude. And same thing with Alejandro Garnacho. And you understand, you wonder why these players do what they do. You understand?
Garnacho is different. I think it was the manager who
I doubt that.
Exactly.
I doubt that. No.
For Isak, they love him. They want him to play. Yes. The manager wants him to start.
Now for Garnacho, there had been some issues before that final. Now, if the club had piped down, they didn't overblow the issues, which obviously could have or should have led to sanctions. Oh, no. I said if the club piped down, they didn't overblow issues that obviously should have led to, sanctions. There were reports of leaks that were linked to him and his brother, and there were evidence, pieces of evidence on social media that should have led to sanction to the player. I don't know whatever transpired, but the club did not blow it out of proportion. You understand? They still integrated him back into the team. Maybe he lost some games, but they integrated him back into the team. just one game, just one final, you were benched, which I'm on his side for that the coach should not have benched him. Many people were on his side, but I think he made the wrong move going to social media to say, oh, if you can bench me now, I want out. Oh, pretty well, you want out, then find a club for yourself. And he has not been able to find, because even Chelsea are willing to pay 50 million, but Chelsea could, collect around 50 million for Madueke. You understand? And they could sign other players for around maybe... You understand?
It's not to them, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on. Pep Guardiola said, my squad is too big. I need to trim it. I need certain players and I want others to go. The question is, be you sign them.
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola, in a couple of years now, has been buying and buying. In fact, he just got Savinho. And reports have it that he wants to sell Savinho to Spurs for 55. He doesn't even want them to pay 50. And overall, he got Savinho for 40 million euros. In fact, they paid 27 million euros. The others are in add-ons and bonuses and all of that to 40, which I'm sure they will not have paid because he has used just 1 year. He's supposed to be over the couple of years that they bought him for. Now he's saying he wants to trim the squad. Bros, you bought them. I mean, is he not being over-pampered?
I wouldn't say he's being, over-pampered because there's no smoke without a fire. You understand? So I won't say he's being over-pampered. Now, thank you for mentioning what's his name now, Pep Guardiola, because I was going to link this Isak story to Savinho. Now, Savinho is rumored to, not even rumored, he's heavily linked to Spurs. And, I'm kind of scared of Spurs right now because they have Kudus, Thomas Frank, and they have some brilliant players. And then with the the signing of Savinho and Eze, they would be a team to look out for. I think everybody in London should be scared of Tottenham. However, there was a report that Savinho was injured, and then hours or minutes after, I think it was Guardiola that said he was injured.
Yes.
And then minutes after, he came on Instagram to show himself in the gym. You can never be in the gym while injured. It's not possible. Now, Guardiola is being kind of so why I said he's not over-pampered is that he's delivered for them. He's delivered for City. He's won trophies upon trophies. Only last season I think they were trophyless.
That was his worst season.
Yeah, ever. But you need to credit him for the fact that he's done the impossible for Manchester City.
But he got
however, now I think Guardiola is playing a game that I do not like and I do not understand. Now, when the rumors came out that Savinho was being linked to Tottenham, this is a brilliant player. This is an absolutely fantastic player. And then he said, no, they are not trying to sell that. They are not selling Savinho. That he expects him to stay longer than these at Manchester City. And then only for us to, hear that, Savinho was dropped. And he said he was injured. And then Savinho, put up a picture on social media telling you guys that I'm fit. You understand? I'm good. So it goes to show you, the funny things that go on behind the scenes. Sometimes it's not the coach. Sometimes it's the coach. He doesn't want this player. I remember what happened to, what's his name now? This Portuguese right back that they sold. I can't remember. I can see his face. I can't remember his name now. Goodness. And they sold him, you sold him of
Cancelo.
Cancelo. And they sold him up. The same thing happened to, what's his name now? Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker is gone. I think sometimes relationship can get broken and then the coach doesn't want again. So whatever happened between them, we don't know. Maybe they will tell us in a podcast maybe in 10 years time or 20 years time because that's about
with the way it's going now. It can
be in the next 6 months with social media.
All right, moving on. That'll be all from us now. Talking about the front page of Punch Sports Extra this morning. But hey, we didn't cover everything. If you want that and more, please go out to your vendors, grab a copy, have a fantastic read, and enjoy your day. We'll be moving on now to basketball, where the D Tigers are having a fantastic start to life at this year's edition of the FIBA AfroBasket competition. They've won the first, their second, and their third game. In fact, in the second game, they defeated Tunisia, the reigning champions, and Tunisia is one country that have not lost, just like the D Tigers, have not lost a FIBA AfroBasket game in a decade, in 15 years. Before Nigeria, they lost to Nigeria, they lost their first game, talking about Tunisia now. But before they lost that one, they had not lost in a decade, meaning we ensured they had back-to-back defeats for the very first time in over 10 years. Is it the 100K that is doing this? What's going on exactly?
I think I want. Can you read my mind? because I was
Tigers have only won AfroBasket once.
Yeah,
that was in 2015. We've not won it after that time. And then this year, you know, we are not too used to them winning. So there's usually this vibe not being there when it's them. But for these Tigers, you know, there's this energy of it's our thing.
They are the queens of
exactly. And this time around, these guys won their first game, won their second against Tunisia, won the third one against Cameroon. The first one was against, is it Cape Verde? It was Cape Verde. Was it Cape Verde or Mozambique? They won the first game, won the second, won the third.
Yeah.
And we are like, okay. So I want to win.
I'm not going to discredit the efforts of
no doubt,
the Tigers.
No doubt.
Brilliant one. You know, the game yesterday against Cameroon was absolutely brilliant from the guys. However, it was a close one.
Yeah,
they won the first exactly by 9 points. They won the first
quarter. We were leading a lot. I mean, the gap was actually
and unfortunately they lost the fourth quarter. But thank God,
so close.
Thankfully, thank God that they had done the job from the first to the third quarter. So kudos to them. We look forward to seeing whoever it is that they are going to face in the quarterfinal. And from here on, this is our message to the Tigers. From here on, it's a must win. Every game is a must win, from the quarterfinals to the semifinals and then to the finals. So you have 3 games to getting the AfroBasket trophy and bringing it back to Nigeria. Please. I don't want to talk about the 100K, but it was in my mind. It has been in my mind. However, I don't want to talk about it because what's her name now? The Chan Eagles, unfortunately,
their captain Nduka Jr. came to the press conference and said, "Our ladies just did this. Our ladies in basketball too just did this." And they got a whooping.
So I just want to advise the Tigers that please don't
talk about it.
Don't talk about it.
Be at the back of your.
Yes, you get more than that 100K, but for the pride, for the shirt,
you get more than that 100K.
I'm not saying it on behalf of the federal government. I'm just saying that
you said you get more than that.
Oh, obviously they would have more than that, but I'm just saying that for the pride, for the shirts, please bring home this trophy. And every game from here on is a must win.
Of course.
Is a must win.
So, guys, that is it for D Tigers. D Tigers, we love you. I mean, equally with D Tigers, if not, but please, guys, let's do this. Let's have a double. I mean, let's have Nigerian D Tigers having FIBA AfroBasket and Nigerian D Tigers. It will be massive. Imagine Super Eagles and Super Falcons champions of Africa at the same time. That would be lovely. So if we can do it, then we'll probably say let's do it again in December. Another let's do it again.
Exactly.
All right, moving on. Like we said earlier, the season started on Friday. It was Liverpool playing an interesting game, a very lovely game against Bournemouth. Antoine Semenyo got a brace. And of course, the whole racist matter that had to be addressed. In fact, he came on social media to even thank Liverpool Football Club for the support and fight against racism. But talking about football, Ugo Ekitike, man came alive, scoring his first Premier League goal. There was another man who was scoring his first Premier League goal. I'm talking about Federico Chiesa, celebrated like he had lots and lots of spirit inside of him. The man was really happy because, Anna Slot I told him he wanted him to do stuff like that, and he did. And it was looking like for FPLers who had captain Mohamed Salah, they were going to have an unusual day because Mohamed Salah always scores on the first day of the season. And guess what? He did it towards the end of the game in style with his weak right foot, and he got the goal. They won 4-2 against Bournemouth, but it was a very tough one anytime.
A pretty tough game, and what a way to start the Premier League season. It was a 6-goal thriller between Liverpool and Bournemouth, in front of the cup. Brilliant one, and I think he got an assist as well.
One goal, assist.
One assist. Now this is a message to Isak that wherever you get to come to Liverpool, you are not going to get a free run
into the automatic
exactly. It's not an automatic starting spot. You are going to sweat for it. And then there was Chiesa, who he is actually on the brink of leaving Liverpool. The guy wanted more playing time, but then what a time to score your first goal for the club. And what a time it was. It was a brilliant finish. You need to look at the technique. Normally, another player who would have chosen this right side, but he chose the left side, and he had to pan, the body movement, his body placement, and then the volley just went right for him. And what a time to score! What a celebration! I think I like the fact that Salah, Hugo, and
Gakpo.
Yeah, and they all celebrated, and remembered what's his name now, Diogo Jota, and Salah was in tears at the end of the game.
Was the last man remaining
pretty brilliant, and his goal was also rather absolutely brilliant. From his weaker right foot. And I was wondering what the goalkeeper was doing. But it was a good game. It was a good way to start the Premier League season. It just goes to show that this is Premier League.
Football
like we say, anything can happen. Yeah.
All right, moving on. Chelsea Football Club of England, London to be precise, West London, played out a goalless draw against Crystal Palace. In fact, Palace had a goal that was ruled out for an infringement from McGahey on one of the Chelsea players. Eberechi Eze, I wanted to say Chidebere. No, Eberechi Eze scored that goal. At the end of the day, it was ruled out. But hey, like we said earlier, these two guys, Eze and Gueye, might be on their way out. But guess what? They were still playing very much for the club, and they were still very much active. Moving on, Manchester City defeated their opponents. It was a bashing, it was a whipping. And there's sunlight in the day, there's the moon at night, and there's Erling Haaland scoring a goal in the Premier League. Keeps breaking record.
Oh, yeah.
Keeps making record. Look at him, Erling Haaland. Doesn't know how to forget scoring, and he definitely did not forget.
That man can never forget scoring. It just goes to show that this guy would, because he already set the record for I think he's the highest goal scorer now in Manchester City. He's beaten Aguero and Raheem Sterling's record. He has the most goals ahead of these two guys. It goes to show that this guy, there's no stopping him, and he would score more goals. And then there was Reinders, who Tijani Reinders. Absolutely, that guy was actually named after
Tijani
Babangida of Nigeria by experience. And one would have thought, oh, this guy Nigerian. No, he's not Nigerian, but he was named after Tijani Babangida. And this guy goes to show you that AC Milan has just lost a brilliant player. But we hope to see. The question is, can they carry this form on till the end of the season? But a man that will not keep scoring is Erling Haaland. It's a brilliant start for Manchester City.
All right. Yesterday, Manchester United, they said they are familiar neighbors with losing. So perhaps yesterday's one was only a little bit painful because they threw everything they had into it. But the defense of Arsenal and the goalkeeper David Raya ensured that Arsenal went home with all 3 points. But it was a positive one for United. Their new boys were shining. Cunha, Mbeumo, there was somebody behind the midfield in their captain Bruno Fernandes. Overall, they brought in Benjamin Sesko at some point. But hey, all these keys were not enough to unlock the Arsenal defense. But we go again against Fulham, I guess.
Oh yes, we go again. That's the word. Yeah, we go again. So it was a brilliant game yesterday. Unfortunately, you don't want to lose a game like that, a game of that magnitude in front of your own fans with that kind of goal. You understand? You don't want to lose with that kind of goal, but it is what it is. If you cannot unlock your opponent, this is what will happen. I think the blame would go to Altay Mahinda for that kind of game. I am not an experienced goalkeeper, but I will tell you that regardless of whatever my opponent does to unsettle me, I'll make sure I do everything possible so that there will be no room for things like that to happen. If what's his name now, Calafiori wasn't there to head in that game, that ball would probably end up in the net. You know why? Because he went for that ball with his hands open. He should have gone for a punch. You understand? He should have gone for a punch and punched the ball out and then leave the defenders to do whatever it is that they will do. If it was a rebound goal, oh yeah,
there was something similar.
You understand? Raya did the same thing, and yes, you would want to question, the what's it called now, the dark arts, football that Arsenal play, especially when it comes to corner kicks. Yes, you would want to question that because you need to leave the goalkeeper where the goalkeeper is. Yes, sometimes you don't need to infringe, on the goalkeeper, and then that's where the VAR goes to question and whether it was a foul or not.
So that was
whatever it is. Personally, I think it was soft. But could they have called for a foul? Yes, they could have called for a foul, but I think it was soft. At least, like I said, do everything possible to don't give room to the opponent to get that kind of goal. That was too soft to lose a game like that against Arsenal. Every effort, every attempt, to score a goal He didn't come out. You understand? So I think that
was
game,
in the 13th minute,
exactly, very early. You never have thought that. But brilliant one, but brilliant one for Manchester United. I hope that they do not allow this defeat define their season. The next game is important.
Is Arsenal winning the league?
Arsenal, if they play like this, no, they are not winning the league, and they might even not get to the top. But if they play like this, because you don't want to expect Arsenal playing like this against Manchester United. Manchester United are played. I'm not saying this as a fan. I'm saying this,
as a fact.
As a fact, they have played Arsenal. Unfortunately, they had more goals than Arsenal, and even more goals on target than Arsenal. This is a Manchester United team that struggles to score.
Who had more goals?
More goals on shots, rather. I beg your pardon. More shots than Arsenal, and then more shots on target than Arsenal. You don't want to, start a season like this. But we can say but we can say, oh, it's the start of the season. Let's wait to see what
happens.
Yeah, the 3 points matters at the end of the day.
Talking about what happened somewhere else in Spain, Atletico Madrid lost their first game of the season after that sweet free kick off the right foot of Julian Alvarez. What is happening in that half of Madrid? Barcelona started exactly how they finished off last season. 3 goals to nil unreplied, and a goal from the wonder kid himself, Lamine Yamal. Nothing could stop him from banging in the goals again. Not even the controversy from his 18th year birthday celebration. I think somebody will be wondering, what about Real Madrid? No, Real Madrid are yet to start the season. They'll be playing Tuesday night by 8 p.m. That is tomorrow night by 8 p.m. In the Bundesliga, Harry Kane has won the second trophy ever of his career. They won the Super Cup. There was a goal for Luis Diaz as well, and he celebrated in the Diego Jota pattern. And yes, just before we round off, some players still don't know where they're going to be playing their trade this season. One of them is a Manchester United player, Jadon Sancho. Reports have it that he wants to go on loan somewhere in Roma. We don't just know. It's just
so presently, before we came into the studio, there was a report that he has rejected
the Roma deal.
The Roma deal. He doesn't want. Manchester United were willing to let him go to, for that amount, 20 million, pounds, but he doesn't want to go to Roma. I think there's a club in Turkey that also are interested. They've inquired for Manchester United, but they have not proceeded because what's his name now? Jadon Sancho doesn't want to go to Roma. So that's the question: where does he want to go? Manchester United fans careless. They just want him out.
All right. I know where we want to go. Our producer has said it's time for us to go out of the studio. So we do hope that Jadon Sancho and Manchester United find out where he wants to go. Thank you very much for being a part of this package. Very thank you to Editor Ramala for being a part of this. A very big, in fact, not just a very big one. The biggest of thanks belongs to you out there, because like I always say, we are here because you are there. It's the beginning of a new week. Stay out of trouble. Have a fantastic week. And God bless you.